All righty, and welcome everyone that is here for Lunch for Life. I'm Kimball Sargent, and I started Lunch for Life about 2 years ago as a place for people to network. And today I am going to be presenting a presentation called Creating a Burn for Living Your Dreams. And I will go ahead and let you know, based on a book that I absolutely love, and I'm now doing some teaching from, by Danielle Laporte, and it's called The Fire Starter Sessions. And uh, Danielle is an amazing, inspiring woman to me. And so that's what I wanted to do, because right now everybody is in this time where, of uncertainty and the issues about what's going on with this pandemic. And the truth is that growth really occurs when we are in these spaces where crises occur. And when we get through this, there will be another life for us. It won't look like our old one did. It won't look like this one, but we get to choose. And this is for both women and men, although it's my belief that sometimes women may suffer and struggle with this a little bit more than men. And I got it. Well, let me go back because I'm having some issues. Let's see. Let me go back through because, well, we will try this again. Okay. So, and now we've got it. So we're going to start today. Being your true self is the most effective formula for success that there is. And I really believe this. It's funny. I see people on Zooms all the time, and they use these really cool backgrounds of these pictures of places they would like to be. And for me, when I do my Zooms, wherever I am, that's what I want to have in my background. Because I really think that in authenticity, when we're being who we are, then we have the most to share. And that's really what Danielle gets at here. Your true self is being your most effective formula for success. It's not about being like somebody else. It's about really embracing who you are and embracing your strengths. And here we let's see. And well, I am not at all sure what is going on with my computer or why it won't. Okay, I may have to, guess I'm going to have to stop screen share again. Okay, here we go. So what you want to learn is about being strategic with your desires, to leverage your contradictions and say no to resentments, yes to inspiration, make ease a metric success. Now, what does that exactly does that mean? Well, leveraging means working with to create a greater effect. And I always think of a lever. You'll have this lever and there'll be a long distance and something heavy. But when you have it at the right angle and you push down more curves, well, when you use your desires, and that's what we really love. That's our passion. That's our purpose. When you're really in line with that, you have a huge amount of strength to leverage and create what it is you want to live with. Now, something you got to learn to do is saying no to resentment and yes to inspiration. And that really means taking all of that stuff from the past, maybe your failures, maybe things where people didn't treat you right, but pick those up and just move them into your past. In fact, if I would encourage you, I'd say pick up your left hand right now and just kind of shake those things off. Just get rid of those things. If there's some of those that are holding you back, because those resentments, when you are thinking about them, you will never be able to really harness all the joy and the energy and the strength that you have for living in the right now. And make ease a metric success. What if you didn't have to work so hard? What if you just kind of opened it up and let it all in? And I'll tell you, this posture right here is one that I love. I love to go outside, particularly, and do it when I can be in the sun and have my head up towards the sky. And it just feels to me like when I'm in this pose, I am letting it all in. I am connecting. For me, it's connecting with God, whatever you see as your source. And, looking and believing that life doesn't have to be hard, that life can be easy, and that how we are looking at it and presenting will have a lot to how that actually is. Now, the first step on the dream is to get some clarity. And I'm going to ask you all to play along with me because it's important that you do to get the most out of this. I want you really quickly, if you've got a piece of paper, I want you to write these answers down, and I want you to go really quick. What do I want? And the first thing that hits in your head, write it down. Why do I really want it? When do you want to get it? How will it make me feel when I've got it? And how do you want to feel? And I'm going to give you just maybe 30 seconds or so for you to write those down. Now, I don't know if anyone is curious why I said to do it quickly, because I didn't want you to have time to think about talking yourself out of whatever it is that you really want. Having clarity about what each of us wants is so important to being able to achieve it. And many times when we start thinking about what we want, we'll think about, oh, well, my husband, my partner, my friend, they really want me to do this, and that isn't what that is. This is about what you really want, and then why you really want it. I mean, what is that burning desire? Because the things that we get are really those things that there's a real reason. Why do we want it? Way back when I became an entrepreneur because I was pregnant with twins, and nobody was ever going to tell me that I couldn't be home with my babies if they were sick or they needed me. And that was a huge why. And my family is still a reason why I'm an entrepreneur. It just keeps me going, because if my dad, he's 85, my brother, my kids, my grandkids, I want to have the ability to do what they need to have done without having to ask a boss. When do you want it? And be bold. Don't say, oh, maybe 5 or 10 years from now. Be bold. When do you want this? Now, I don't really believe in reality, but, if it is to have a Fortune 500 company, that's probably not going to happen tomorrow. You've got to think, but when do you want it? I mean, how quickly? And you want to be bold in assigning a date, because you know what? When you have a goal and you don't give it a date, sometimes things never really happen. And dreams are kind of like that. You've got to make it real and, make it something that can happen that you couldn't believe could happen this fast. And this isn't a good thing, but you think about how our lives changed with COVID-19. In January, we heard what was going on in China. We heard about them locking down. We heard what was going on. But I don't think many people here in the U.S. really realized what was going to happen in March. And in March, we had no clue that in July we would still be living the way we are now. So life can change very quickly. It can change as quickly for the good as it does for the bad. And how do you want to feel right now? So here's a question for you. Would you rather be good or amazing? And I think there's a difference. And I think it's really important that we be clear about this. I can clean toilets really well. I'm good at cleaning toilets. When I was a kid, it was my job at the house. I don't like to clean toilets. And a number of years ago, I decided that I was not going to clean toilets. I would choose not to do that. That is never going to be on my to-do list ever again. I don't want to do it, and I can spend my time doing it, but what am I changing that for? What am I trading it for? What is another way to get that done? You know, you can be good and you can be amazing, but if you spend all of your time doing things that you're good at, are you ever really going to do the things that you're amazing at? And you know what is amazing for you, because when you are doing something that you're amazing at, every single cell in your body just feels like it's rolling. It's a feeling that you have. In fact, right now, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take in a deep breath, blow it out, and I want you to think back to the last time that you felt really amazing. I want you to feel how that felt in your body. I want you to hear what you heard. I want you to see what you saw. I want you to smell anything you might smell. Maybe you're having a great dinner. What did it taste like? Get all of those feelings and just feel them in your body. Okay, so open your eyes. You are amazing, and you can be amazing. And you'll never be amazing when what you're focusing on and doing is what you're good at. What are you good at but don't like doing? I said cleaning toilets. There's a lot of other things. I'll give a good example. I can do posts and stuff on Facebook for events and all, but I get it done usually, but I don't have much time and I mess it up. And today the link isn't working. So you know what? I've got a virtual assistant that's going to start doing that. You know, I can do it. And if I make the time, I can do it well, but I don't like doing it. And it takes me away from doing the things I'm amazing at. So what are you amazing at? What are you amazing at other than that little trip down memory lane we took and looked at? Life is full of opportunities to feel exactly the way you want to feel. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to bet that you would really enjoy an amazing feeling that you felt all the time. So, life gives you those opportunities. Don't pass up the opportunities. Sometimes there are opportunities that only come once, and if we let them go, they're gone forever. Your most valuable currency is what comes naturally to you. Cash in on it. You know, somebody that I don't watch her a lot, but I really enjoy watching Rachel Ray. Rachel Ray is a gal that grew up in an Italian family that loved to cook, and she loves to cook and she loves to eat. And you know what? She's made her whole career. She started out with a 30-minute meal. I think a lot of the meals she does now are more than 30 minutes. But look what has happened, because she followed her purpose and her passion. She loved to cook. She wanted to show people how everybody could cook. She wanted to show them how they could cook quickly. She wanted to show them how it was fun. It was her purpose. And from that, she got a TV show, cookbooks. I think she's got a line of cookware. So there's something inside of you that comes naturally. Now, it can be more than one thing. In my entrepreneurial life, I've owned H&R Block franchises. I've had a medical counseling practice. I have a self-care coaching program now that I use. I use some NLP and hypnotherapy and energy healing. I'm all about empowering people to live their best lives. And I've done it through a lot of different ways. And you can too. But what's important is to look at what comes naturally to you. For me, what comes naturally is teaching other people to see the best in themselves, because I can see it. It's almost like X-ray vision to me. I love doing that. And then I love showing them how to get there. So what would you do if you could not fail? A few years ago, I was returning after being at a conference, and it was down in Florida. And one of my friends down there, and a coach to me, sent me a postcard from the Space Center. And on the front of it said, "What would you do if you could not fail?" And I thought, this looks like a fun exercise. So I sat down and I closed my eyes and I went inside and I started thinking, what were the things I could do if I could not fail? And a bunch of things started coming up. So I had to open my eyes. And I got out a piece of paper and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. What would you do if you could not fail? What was interesting was after I had finished that and I looked at the list, it was like, wow, most of these things I'm not doing And a lot of it was because I thought I could fail. You know what? I have a saying now. It is fail forward faster. Who cares if you make a mistake? Actually, I don't think mistakes actually exist. I think we should get rid of that word, mistake. Because when we do something and it doesn't work out, it's a great learning opportunity. So when you make a mistake, start looking for the blessings because they are there. They will be there in this pandemic. I'll tell you, one of the blessings that I think is that families are getting together in this like they weren't before. I was talking to a friend of mine in Smithfield who's a single dad, and he said, Kimball, he said, we hadn't eaten on our dining room table in years. He said, I clean that sucker off and we sit in there and eat every night. And he said, I say, you know what? We're going to look back on this and think about, wow, those were the good old days. That's how it is. So in every storm, there is something that comes out of it that will build you up. So think about and make that list. Not right now, but what would you do if you could not fail? Now, where purpose and passion meet, that is the sweet spot. And you will know that your dream is worth doing when both of those come together, because you feel both on purpose and passionate all along the journey. And you know, it is not a destination in life. When I was a kid, I was all about destinations. I remember, couldn't wait to go to kindergarten, couldn't wait to go to first grade, couldn't wait to go to high school, couldn't wait to go to college, couldn't wait to get my first job, couldn't wait to have my first baby. But you know what? The real joy was along the way. I had a blast in college. Watching my kids grow up was the most amazing thing. And I will tell you, if I ever write that book about my life, you will know it wasn't perfect. In fact, it was sloppy and sliding around in the mud a lot of times, but I loved it. Every point along my life has been the very best time. And being a parent now of adult children, it isn't perfect, but I love it. I love now seeing my kids do their things as being parents. Every place you are along the journey. So when you get that feeling, and I'll bet if you go back and you think about that feeling you were having in your body, your purpose and your passion were intersecting. And it can look on all kinds of different things, but that's what you want to be doing. And that is where you will make your most money, you will have your most joy, you will change the most lives. So right now, in the next 30 seconds, I want you to write as many ways that you want to feel in life as you can. Pick up your pen and go. All right, and I'm going to call time. Now, why do you think that I wanted you to write as many ways as you want to feel? I will tell you that feelings are way more important than what we think about. Many years ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and I was in a continuing education, and there was this very famous neurologist who was talking about feelings and that they were more important than thoughts. And you know what? I thought, you're crazy. And he said, this is how it is. You're walking in your backyard and there's this black thing laying in front of you. Is it more important that you think about, is that a snake that is poisonous and may bite me? Or is that just a twig? Let me think. Nope. When you see that black thing, you jump back because it might have been a snake. And there's a reason. Our brain works for the limbic system first because it's a matter of survival. If you think about that while you're thinking, you may be eaten. But if you jump back, then you can laugh at yourself. It's just a stick. Or you can go, oh, I'm so glad I jumped back. That's a snake. So what we feel about make things real. That's why when I had you sit there and close your eyes and you got into those feelings, it gave you energy. And you know what? This is just a little tip. Anytime during the day that you're feeling bad, sit down, take a deep breath, and go back to that spot. Go back to that spot where purpose and passion intertwine. Go back to that place where you felt so accomplished, so capable, so competent. It will change your mind, and it will get your brain working too, which is a really good thing. Because when we are feeling burned out, that goes away and we aren't living our best life. Now, act as if. The act as if principle. Some people say when I talk about act as if, they say, I thought you're about authenticity. And I totally am. Do you remember being a little kid and wanting to do something in life? I used to pretend that I was a nurse. I used to pretend that I was a therapist because it was one on TV and I thought that was cool. I grew up to be both of those. I used to pretend that I was a mommy. And when I was doing that, I was practicing and every cell in my body was getting it. So when you act as if you've accomplished something that you already have, your brain goes into overdrive and that subconscious and unconscious start working and they're like, oh my gosh, she or he really wants this. Let's do it. In fact, she's doing it now. He's doing it now. So I want you to write down 5 things that you've accomplished that give you those feelings that you want to have. 5 things. And I'll give you just less than a minute. Okay? Now, I want you to string days together in a week. List one thing that you will do today to generate those feelings. So look at those feelings, choose one. I'm going to tell you, I choose joy. I choose joy every time. I believe that I was put on the planet to experience and share joy. But you choose the one that just jumps off the paper at you. And then I want you to write down one thing that you're going to do today that is going to generate joy.
Generate joy.
And look at this. You choose. You choose because you are the master of your feelings. Your feelings and actions are the only 2 things you really have control of. And you can generate this feeling today. Now, I want you to think about 90 days of goals to create, 90-day goals to create success. So in this, I want you to write down 3 things that you will do in the next 90 days to create. It could be 1, and it could be 3 things aimed at one feeling that you had, or it could be 3 things with 3 different feelings. And I'm going to give you probably about a half a minute to do that. Now, your number 1 cheerleaders. Do you know cheerleaders are there for the players and not for the crowd? And do you know why? Because the cheerleader's job is to get the crowd in the game, and then the players hear the cheers and it makes them work better. In fact, right now in this crazy pandemic, they are playing crowd noise for the players. Because think about it, you're a baseball player and you're playing and there's no sounds and there's nobody in the stands. That does not encourage you to be your best. So you need 3 people who will support and promote you in creating these feelings. So now I'm going to give you just about a half a minute to write down 3 names. And the first 3 that come to mind are the right ones, I promise. This week, what are the things that you're going to do to generate these feelings? We've talked about what you're going to do today. We've talked about the 90 days. I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds to write down 3 things that you're going to do this week to generate the feelings. All right, we're going to be finishing up now. Would you like to be a part of a mastermind and a study of the fire starter sessions? I'm going to be, and this is going to be a free group, this first one that I'm doing. It's going to be a free group, and it's going to be based on the book by Daniel Laporte, The Fire Starter Sessions. Because I just feel like that if we miss this time right now in moving our feelings into the place that we want them to be and envisioning that life that we want as we go through this pandemic, that we're going to miss out. You know, what a person believes they can do has a lot to do with what they can do. I have a friend who is a real estate agent. His name is Terrence Boykin. And Terrence is selling 4 and 5 houses a week. I talk to a lot of other realtors who tell me they're not selling any houses. There is a difference. There's something different. But from the moment this thing happened, Terrence said to me, Kimball, I'm going to do this. People want houses. We can make this happen. There is always a way, but we have to believe it, and we only believe it when we feel it. We can do anything that we feel we can do. The problem is, as you get older, a lot of times you get so beat down by the things that have happened and the people that are not your cheerleaders, and you just start feeling like you can't. So if you're interested in this, let me know. Here's the contact information. I would love for you to be a part of it. I'm going to limit the group to 8 people, and it will all be online. And it's going to be fun. And I promise you, if you decide to be a part of it, it will all be fun. And at the end, every single person will be changed. And that's going to be a fun thing to see what you have become that you wanted to become. So I thank you for joining me today. I'm going to stop my screen share if I can get here to the place to do it. Oh, no. Well, there. Did the screen share stop for you guys?
See it.
It didn't stop? I can't hear you, Cece.
Oh, sorry. I was saying I didn't see it.
The screen wasn't, it didn't show?
No, when you were having issues, yeah, when you were having issues with it earlier, it didn't show. But I'll tell you what, you send me your presentation, I'll piece it together for you. I do that. So just send me your presentation and send me the video, and I'll put it together.
Oh, I tell you, this has just been, but you know, that's how it goes.
Yep, that it happens.
All right.
Hey, I want to volunteer for that group.
Okay.
I'd like to be a part.